Hi, welcome for our online training and placements. In the first demo, what we have discussed, I have uploaded in our YouTube channel. You can go through here. So today we are going to talk about the second demo. We have discussed in our previous session what is cloud, what are different cloud companies we have, what is Fusion applications, how about the Fusion HCM modules. This all we have talked about in the previous session. Now, in this session, we'll take one real-time scenario, how it can be done. So, how the setups will perform, how we will go for test those setups when we are working in the real time. So, we'll take a general scenario here. And this is the instance we are going to use. So, the moment once you join in the project, your client is asking us, can you go for register one company, nothing but a legal entity and a particular office. They will give the address, so and so address. After that, define a branch. Define the branch. Branch is nothing but our business unit. Branch is nothing but business unit here. After defining the business unit, now he is asking create one finance department. Create finance department. And in the finance department, define the job called cashier. Define the job called cashier and go for hire employee for the cashier position. Hire the employee for cashier position. This is actual requirement. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to register a company first, and client has given some address, which is New York address. After that, within that company, we want to define a branch. We wanted to define a branch. Once we define the branch, then we would like to have a department in that branch called finance department. In that department, we would like to have a job called cashier. We would like to have a job called cashier. Then we want to hire an employee for that particular cashier position. We want to hire an employee for that particular cashier position. So when we are hiring an employee, system should ask us for which company you are hiring an employee, for which branch you are hiring an employee, for which department you are going to hire an employee, for which job you are going to hire an employee. This all information should automatically populate. It means these all are the setups we are going to perform. All these setups should be populated at the time of hiring an employee. This is a transaction. Generally, this will be done by the client. And these all are setups we are supposed to do it at the time of implementation when we are working in the project. Okay. So here I'm going to specify this is our instance. As soon as we get an instance, what we have to do is first we have to create ourselves our own username and password, means our own credentials we are supposed to create. Let's go for creation of our own credentials. So this is a server. So this is a server, or we call it as an instance server, or we are going to call it as an instance. We'll be connecting. If you have an internet connection, that is fine. It's Oracle Cloud. You are connecting to Oracle Cloud here. As we discussed in our previous session, there will be a data centers from Oracle. In that data centers, there will be a servers. We are going to connect for those data center servers through this here. Through internet, we are going to connect over here to the cloud. Okay. So once we log in, we would like to go ahead with creating the credentials. Go to Navigator, Tools menu, Security Console. Go to Security Console over here. Once we go to Security Console here, then we are going to create our own credentials. Means we are going to create our own username and password. Go to the tab called users tab, add user account. I'm going to create my own user account here. So I'm mentioning the user account is General Motors. Let me enter the password here, reset the password. And whenever we want to do some setups or whenever we want to do some transactions, any action we want to perform in the application, we need the permission. That's what we call it as a roles. Role is nothing but access to the application. Role is nothing but access to the application. Now, whenever we want to do the setups in Fusion applications, whenever we want to do the setups in Fusion applications, we are supposed to perform the implementation roles attachment. We have to add the implementation roles. Go to this button, add role. What are the implementation roles we have? There are two implementation roles. One is IT security manager. One is IT security manager. Another one is application implementation consultant role. Application implementation consultant role. Application implementation consultant. These two roles we call it as implementation roles. Go for save and close. Go for save and close here. Let's log out from the current user. Let's log out from the current user and log into the applications. Here we are going to have the username, whatever we have entered. Enter the password. Now we have logged into the applications. Now, the moment once we log into the applications, we are supposed to check whether the roles has been applied or not, whether the roles has been populated or not. So what we have done here is we added two roles, implementation roles, IT security manager, application implementation consultant. Right. So where do we find? Go to user menu here. Go to user menu. We can find here setup and maintenance. You got this option means indirectly application implementation consultant role has been populated. Application implementation consultant role has been populated. You got this option means. And go to navigator. Go to navigator menu here. Once we go to navigator menu here, go to tools menu. We'll find IT security. We can find here navigator, tools menu, security console. If you get the security console here, then we can say that IT security manager role has been populated. IT security manager role has been populated over here it is. Okay, and we can search our username, whatever we have done here. Now we can find this. Okay, so now what we have done is we created our own credentials, means our own username and password. Then we have tested the implementation rules has been applied or not. Implementation rules has been applied or not. Now what we would like to do is, now we want to register first company address. Let me do this particular setup. Client will tell us what is their address. If client is having the business in multiple countries, then multiple addresses we are going to define. We call it as a legal address. What is legal address? Legal address is nothing but your company established or registered address. Established address or registered address we are going to have. Okay. So I'm going to mention the company name is Lenovo Corporation USA, and it's in New York. I'm going to specify the postal code as this, New York. Now I have registered company address successfully. Okay. So this should be provided by the client. Client should provide this information. Once our address is ready, then register the company. Because if any client is doing some business, first what they have to do, they have to register their company. If they go for registration, the registered authority, for example, if you want to register a company in India, then you are supposed to apply for ROC, registered of companies. Then they'll ask us where exactly you are going to start your company, register your company. So registered address that we have already created. And then they'll ask, what is your company name? And then they'll allocate company details. That's what I'm going to specify. Legal entity. So legal entity is nothing but a legal organization where client has established their business, where client has registered their business. We call it as a legal entity over here. We call it as legal entity over here. So here we have to choose the scope. What is the meaning of this scope? The scope will give two options for us. You want to create a new legal entity or you want to search for existing legal entity. Right now we want to go for create a new legal entity. Select create new, apply and go to task, apply and go to task and go for create this. Now what system is asking? Which country you have registered your company? What is the name of the company? Your company identification number. Generally, whenever we register our company, the registered authority will provide these numbers. Registered authority will provide this numbers. That client should provide to us that we are supposed to enter as it is. There is nothing we are going to suggest. Whatever client is providing, like their place of registration, registration number, tax identification number, and legal address, just now we created, right? This is all information we are supposed to enter. So I'm going to mention that it's Lenovo Corporation USA. Registration number is this. And when this company is established, let's say the company is established in 1999. The company is established in 1999. And what is the legal address? Just now we created legal address, right? That we are supposed to get in the list. These all are seeded data provided by Oracle. But when we are working in the real time, we don't find this seeded data. We'll find whatever the address we have created. Because once you join in the project, the instance will be the fresh instance. Fresh instance will be provided by Oracle to the client, and we will be working on that. So first we have to create our own addresses and then start doing the legal entity setup. Place of registration is New York, and identification number, I'm going to specify some value, registration numbers, say. So what we have done right now here is we have registered the company. Like this, if client is having multiple companies, then we have to go for register multiple legal entities. We don't use the word company in our interview or in the project or interacting with the client. We call it as a legal entity. That is an functional word which we use whenever we are working in the fusion applications. So once we register the legal entity, then we are supposed to enable these two checkboxes because I want to hire employees. I want to hire an employees. That's why I have enabled a legal employer. It's one of the standard question in the interviews. What is the difference between legal entity and legal employer? It's very simple. For the legal entity, we cannot hire employees. If you make it as a legal employer, then only we can hire employees. Otherwise, we cannot hire employees. Right now, we want to hire employee, right? That's why I made it as legal employer. Next, we once we hire employees, then we wanted to go for run the payroll. We wanted to go for run the payroll. That's why we must enable this checkbox called PSU, payroll statutory unit. Enable this checkbox. So PSU stands for payroll statutory unit. This we will be using to go for registration. This we will go for using the registration here. Okay. So let's go for save. What we have done here is we have registered our company, means we have created legal entity. After that, we have enabled it as a legal employer. We have enabled it as a legal employer, and we have also enabled it as a PSU, payroll statutory unit. It means we can hire employees, then we can also run the payroll for them. We can also run the payroll for them, and we can go for generate the pay slips. That is our next module. We don't need to worry about. Right now, we are just going ahead hiring the employees. So we have done the second setup here. We registered the company and we attached our legal address to the company. Next, create a new branch. Obviously, when the client is starting the business, at least one branch will be there. There will be a multiple branches also. Let's say client is telling, I have started my business in India and US. How many companies? Obviously, two companies, India company and US company. In India, again, 10 branches I have, nothing but 10 business units we have to create. US 40 branches they have. Let's create a 40 business units. Okay. Like that, we are supposed to create. Let's create a business unit. So business unit is nothing but an organization where client is doing the main business operations. Where client is doing the main business operations. Go to the task here, business unit. Go to the task, business unit here. Lenovo, newer business unit. And if at all we want to specify the location details, we can choose that. And next we are going to specify the reference data set. We'll be talking about this later when we are working with the enterprise structure setup in our regular classes. Okay, I'm just going ahead with common set. So right now what we have done is we have created a business unit, nothing but a branch. We created a branch. Like this, we can create multiple branches. If any client says that I am going to close this branch, then we can go for deactivate this particular branch. Here it is. We can go for deactivate this particular branch. Let's go for save and close. So business unit has created successfully. Business unit has created successfully. Once we create a business unit, if you want to attach this business unit to your company, nothing but a branch. Okay. If you want to add this business unit to your legal entity should be assigned to the ledger. Generally, ledgers are used to maintain the accounting information, day-to-day accounting transactions. Every company, when they are doing the business, there will be expenditure, there will be income, right? There are different types of expenditure. and there are different types of income also. All this information will be maintained in a proper format. We call it as a ledger. A ledger is a logical organization which we will be using to maintain the accounting information day to day, whatever the client is doing. So now what we have to do is we have to attach our legal entity to one ledger. Okay, let me attach that. Otherwise, we can't assign the business unit. Let me show you. It will shows the error message. You cannot attach your business unit to legal entity without attaching the legal entity to the ledger. Let's go to the task, assigning business unit. This task, it comes in financial tab. As I said, it's related for financial setup, but still we have to do that. Or if finance consultant has already done, no problem. It's very simple setup. Assign business unit, business function. Select the scope here. Now this is my business unit. This is my business unit. I'm going to assign this business unit to the legal entity. You can see that. Make sure that your legal entity is already associated with the ledger. Otherwise, you cannot select. It will show error message. Attribute primary ledger ID is required, showing that error message. Showing that a particular error message. It's very simple setup. Let me go for assign this legal entity to the ledger. Assign legal entity. This task names we have to remember. It won't take much. It's not that much complex. It's very simple, easy. Assign legal entity is the task name which we will be using. Now go to the scope here. I'm not creating a ledger. I'm selecting existing ledger and attach my legal entity to the ledger. So which ledger you are using? US primary. Press enter. Now this is my ledger name, US primary ledger. Now this is my ledger, US primary ledger. Within the ledger, we can have either one company or multiple companies. We can have either one legal entity or multiple legal entities. I'm going to add one more here. Here I can find. This. Now what we have done, we have associated our company with a ledger. We have associated our company with the ledger here successfully. Let's go for save and close. That's fine. Now we can assign our branch, means our business unit, to the legal entity. Assign business unit, business function. We are already in the scope of our business unit here. Click on this here. Now this is our business unit. This is our business unit. What exactly your company is doing in this business unit? Means what businesses they are performing in this branch. What businesses they are performing in this particular branch, so that we can enable that's not required for HCM for us. Okay, and we are going to specify here ledger, name of the ledger. Let's choose the ledger and choose the legal entity, whatever we are working here. US primary ledger, that's, and then this is our legal entity. So now what we are trying to do is we are assigning our branch. We are assigning our branch to our legal entity. The legal entity is already associated with the ledger to maintain the accounting information here. To maintain accounting information here. Press OK. Save. So this is our business unit and assigned it to the legal entity. Let's go for save and close. So we have completed successfully the second setup, that is defining the business unit, assign this business unit to the legal entity. Next, we know that in every branch there will be a departments, right? Finance department, sales department, admin department, service transportation department, purchasing department, like that. Client will tell us what are the departments we have in this business unit, and we'll go for attach those departments to the business unit. Okay, so let's go for create one department and assign this department to the business unit. Here, simple logic we have to apply. Let me go to our business unit. Let me go to the business unit here. I'm searching for my business unit, whatever we have created. Just now we created, right? What is that? Lenovo New York business unit. That's the business unit we have created. Let me open this. While creating the business unit, what I have mentioned is reference data set is common. Reference data set is common. It means whatever the departments you want to attach to the business unit, you can go for attach your department to this reference data set. Automatically, it will be assigned to your business unit. So while creating the department here, what you have to mention, specify this department is assigned to the common set. Automatically, it will be assigned to your business unit. So that we have to think. So while creating the department, system will ask us what is the set. Let's use the common set. I'm creating department. Client will tell us how many departments are there in every business unit. They'll give the list of that. Either we can load that if there are hundreds of departments. For example, I have 50 branches across the world. In every branch, there are 20 to 30 departments. Around 1,500 departments list, we are going to get it from the client. Then we can go for using the spreadsheet option for data load into the applications. Then go for create. Now we are going to create. Here is first question system is asking for which reference data set you want to attach your department. I said I want to attach to common set because this common set is already attached to the business unit, our business unit. Okay. So Lenovo Finance Department, click next button. For this department, who is the manager? And for this department expenditure, how you would like to go for manage, and what are the office timings for this department, start date and end date, working hours for this department. So all this information can be captured. We'll talk about that in our regular sessions. Right now, we just defined a department, assigned it to common set, and common set is already assigned to the business. Okay. So now next go for what is our next task? Department is done. Next, we have to define a job. How we have defined the department? Same way we have to define the job also, right? So we defined the department and assigned it to common set, right? What is our department? Lenovo Finance. Search Lenovo Finance. That is the department, right? Now, which set it is assigned? Common set. Same way, we have to go for create a job attached to common set. Attached to common set. How to create a new set, we will talk about that in our regular sessions. Go to manage job. As this is a demo, I'm just taking one scenario and we are going to perform that. We are taking one assignment and we are going to complete that. Same thing like department, how the system has asked the reference data set. For job also, system is asking what is the reference data set. So our BU is associated with common set. Let's go for assign this to the common set, and I'm going to mention that job name as Lenovo Cashier. Code Lenovo Cashier. Click next button. We don't need any other information. A lot of setups are there. We'll be talking about those options like next level. here. Click next button. It's taking some time. Yeah. Now the job is active status. I'm mentioning it's a full-time job, regular, and it's mainly related for finance department. We can specify for which department it is related, finance, how many levels this is the for second level. Is it manager level or general level or mid-level job? It's non-manager job I'm specifying. Medical checkup is not required for this. I'm going to say that no. Click next button. So we are entering all the job details here. Let's complete the job information here and submit. Now we created a job successfully. Lenovo cashier. That's the job we have created successfully here. And we have assigned our job to the branch, department to the branch. The branch is already assigned to the legal entity. Okay. So these are the setups we have performed successfully. Now we want to hire an employee for this particular organizations. Okay. So if we want to hire an employee, we require access, human resource specialist. Human resource specialist is the role name we are supposed to assign for our username. Go to navigator, tools menu, security console, search for your username. For every module, there will be 4 to 5 roles. We have to remember those role names. We have to remember what exactly we can perform by using that role. Sometimes client will ask us to create a new role. Yes, we have to do it. Sometimes client will ask us to customize existing role. Yes, we have to do. It's a part of roles. It's a part of security. As a functional consultant, we are supposed to do it. It's our responsibility. We'll be doing that in our regular sessions. Now, search for our username. What we want to do is now we want to hire an employee. When we want to hire an employee, we require the permission. What is the role name? Human resource specialist. That is the role name. Human resource specialist is the role name. Human resource specialist is the role name which is required to hire an employee. Now we have assigned the role. Generally, when we assign the role, automatically the role will be populated. We can check that from the navigator. Go to my client groups. No, it's still not populated. It takes a couple of minutes time. It takes a couple of minutes time. Go to navigator. We have to check in the my client groups. We are supposed to get one option called here new person. Persons means employees. Generally, we call it as a worker. Otherwise, we can just log out and log into the applications. Let me log out from here and log into the applications. Yes, now the role has been applied. We can create employee here, means we can hire an employee. After that, if at all you would like to manage the employee information, you can do it from here, person management. It means you can search your employee and then make some changes in the employee information. Let's go to the option called new person. Let's go to the option called new person, hire an employee. Whenever we are going to hire an employee here, we can find first identification details. Nothing but employee, hiring date, name of the company, and if it is India, Aadhaar card number, if it is US social security number, like that, identification numbers. After that, employee person information, nothing but employee email ID, phone number, home address, employee contacts, passport, visas. This all information will enter. Next, employment information. This is our main tab where we are going to choose. We already given the company details here. Already we given company details. Here we'll give business unit, department, job. We have done, right? A lot of other things are there, but we have not done those setups. We did only three, right? Business unit, department, and job that we are going to enter. Employment information. Every company, when they are hiring one employee, they'll go for assign this employee to the particular department, particular business unit, particular location, particular manager, particular timings, right? This all particular grade, this all will be populated here. After that, compensation, nothing but a salary. This is payroll and salary information will be maintained. Finally, we are going to review this information and go for confirm it. This is the hiring process. The steps: identification, person information, employment information, compensation, and finally review. We can hire the employee for future dates. We can hire an employee for history dates also. Let's say your company has already hired an employee on 1st January 23 for some recruitment. And what is your company name? We just configured, right? Lenovo Corporation. We are getting. It means our setup, whatever we have done, we got it here. At the same time, we got error also. What the error message? System is showing that whatever your company is there, means whatever legal employer you have, that is not assigned for LDZ. That's why you cannot hire an employee. LDZ stands for Legislative Data Group. Legislative Data Group. Every company must be assigned for LDZ because from the legislation only we are going to get country name, currency. It's mandatory. Otherwise, we cannot hire employee. Let me do this setup. Where do we do the setups? Setups will be doing it from the user menu, setup and maintenance, FSM environment. We call it as functional setup manager. Functional setup manager. Here we'll do that. Let's go for assign the legal entity to the LDC. Now go to the task here. Manage legal entity HCM information. Manage legal entity HCM information. Choose your legal entity here. Now choose this legal entity. Make sure that this is associated with LDC. Otherwise, we cannot hire an employee. That's why we got error message. Now go for edit. Now two tabs we have here. Go to PSU tab, payroll statutory unit. Because when you hire an employee, payroll information will be maintained at LDC level. I'm searching for US legislative data because our company is registered in US, right? So that's why we are going to select submit. Mainly this LDC is at payroll module, payroll level. We are going to do this here. Now click done button. Let's go for hire an employee. So we got error message and we have identified this error we got due to this setup missing and we did that setup. Now we are going to hire an employee. Let's hire an employee for 1st January and choose your company name, Lenovo Corporation USA. See, we are not getting that error message now. Enter the personal details. I'm mentioning that here, Madan Mohan. These are general information, date of birth, national identification, US social security number, SSN number I'm going to specify here. It should be total 9 digits, first 3, -2, and then -4 digits. Then person information, home address, we can maintain phone details, email details, legislative information, employee citizenship, passport information, visas information, and contacts. This is citizenship details can be captured here. Passport information captured here. Visas and permits and contacts. Brother, child, sister, spouse. Okay, like this we can go for capture employee person information here. So I'm mentioning that here Lenovo home address, employee home address is this. And I'm going to specify the phone details here. It's home phone, country code, United States, area code, a number, email details, work email, marital status. Let's say employee is married, higher education. I'm going to say that he is a doctorate and citizenship, passport. This is all, of course, if you want to maintain any contacts information, let's say this employee has got a brother and brother details can be captured here and their contact details here. So this is purely personal information about an employee we are going to capture here. You need to enter the person's 7-digit number here. Area code for United States. Yeah. So any 3 digits can be possible and 7 digits and starts with 1. Now we are in the tab called employment information. So here we are going to mention our business unit. We have already specified for which company you are hiring this employee. And now employee number also generated. You can also set employee number as a manual process. There are different person generation methods. We'll be using that next level. Now we are going to choose this employee is working for so-and-so business unit, Lenovo New York business unit, right? And then what is the job name? For which job you are hiring this employee? Cashier, okay. How about the department? Finance department. We have done only 3 setups here. One is business unit, another one is department, another one is job. All the 3 setups got successfully populated, right? So the client will ask us hundreds of departments, branches, locations, grades, positions, managers, working timings, person types. There are hundreds of setups we have to do it. That's what our course. We have to learn global HR first module. Okay. So now three setups are successfully populated here. So a lot of fields are there here. So if you want to assign any payroll to the employee, payroll is nothing but a salary information. We can go for associate here, payroll assignment. Now click next button. If we want to add any salary information, compensation details, we can go for assign this compensation, salary basis and all. Comes in the next module, payroll. We don't require it right now. It is. We are just going to complete this hiring process, right? So click next button, submit. This is how we will go for hire an employee in Fusion applications. During this hiring process, we'll be getting all these values like person information, identification, employment information, and compensation details. Mainly ours is employment information. In employment only, most of the setups and most of the work we will find. Because changing the assignment, changing the manager, creating multiple assignments, disable the assignment, and employee wants to update their digital documents, nothing but their passport details, educational qualification, experience letters. We call it as document of records. Okay. So all this information can be modified. Now we hired an employee successfully. How to find whether the hiring process has completed successfully or are there any approvals or pending? Okay. So approvals is a major part when we are talking in human capital management, not only in human capital, in financial, supply chain, everywhere, approvals is very important. Go to person management here and search for an employee here, whatever we have hired. So employee name is this. Now this is an employee and this is employee number, national ID, department, job like this. If I want to make some changes for this employee, click on this employee name. System will shows the details here. Here is the information, start date of an employee, assignment number. Assignment number is nothing but the recruitment, whatever we have done that number. And we can find right side the menu, which is very, very important for this employee. If you want to add any absences, nothing but a leave management. Yesterday we talked about absence management module, right? That absence plans. If you want to add the payroll, nothing but a salary structure for this employee, we can add here. If you want to add any compensation plans, can be added here. And if you want to update, this is global HR. If you want to update employee personal details or employment information, we can update from here. Employee person details, employment direct, defining the relationship, transfers, terminations. This all can be done over here. Okay. Generally, whenever we hire any employee, automatically user account will be created. Means username and password by default. By default, system create a username and password because this employee wants to log in and do some operations. Maybe he wanted to check self information. Nowadays, every employee is going to log in to the every company application and they are going to verify their pay slips. They are going to update their self information. We call it as a self service HCM or self service HR. Okay. This is required for every organization. That's why system what it will do is it will create a user account. Go to user account here. It will create a user account. By default, it takes last name dot first name. You can also set the email ID is the user account. There are different options to set up the user account here. The moment when we click on the user account, system will shows the user account is already generated or not. If it is already generated, we can find that username and also we can find the status here. Our system is showing mohan.mother, last name dot first name it has taken. This is here mohan.mother and it is active status. We can find by default one role also is assigned. By default employee role self, it's automatically as assigned over here it is. Okay, so let's set the password for this username. Let's copy this username whenever we want to work with the users, either create a user or update the user or disable the user, what we have to do, tools menu, security console. So which role is required for this? IT security manager. Go to the tab called users tab and search for the username. The moment when we click on this user, we can find the details here. System is clearly showing that this employee name, employee number, this is the job, this is the business unit, this is the department. It's active status, this is the email ID, this is the username here. Okay. Default employee role is assigned. We'll be discussing about this, how to create a role, how to assign the role automatically. Excuse me, I'm sorry for that. How to assign this role automatically to the employee. The moment when you hire any employee, some of the roles I wanted to assign automatically. Then we will be using these options here. Okay, let's go for reset the password because we just wanted to log in and check whether it's working or not. So let me reset the password here. Manually, you can reset the password, or if you want your password needs to be generated automatically, we can do this. Automatically means it will generate the password and send this password to your email ID. You can go for verify through your email ID. Now we have done this. Let me just log out from the current user and log in with the new user, whatever we have hired here. Okay, so now this is Mr. Madan Mohan has connected to the application here, and he can just go to the navigator. He can access the self information, and he will not be able to do any other activity because we have not given any permission. We have not given any security console access. Employee role we have provided. Employee role means employee can access self information and they can check their pay slips. If they want to apply for the leaves, they can apply from here. If they want to update their career information, they can update here. If they want to update their benefits, wellness and fit, personal brand. Okay. If they want to update their expenses, they can update. If in case if they are going for a leave, they want to assign their roles to someone else. We call it as a vacation roles. Employee is going to be leave for 1 month. Then he can go for reassign this his all activities to some other employee. So that employee will perform on behalf of Mr. Mother. Okay. If there are some voluntary options are going on, if employee wants to go for vote, he can perform from here. Any job openings are there within the company. So this is all like self-service HR information. If employee required some material or something, he can request. If he required some service, let's say employee required additional laptop, or he wants to change the stationery option. Like this, any other things employee required that they can go for rise and they can receive it. Okay, so that's about. Now we have not added the setups, right? We have not given an implementation access for this employee. That's why if I go to user menu, I don't find setup and maintenance. Setup and maintenance is not there. Okay, so like this, we are going to hire an employee for our company, for our business unit, for our department, for our job. After that, the system has generated the user account over here successfully. And then we have done this entire assignment. It's very simple assignment. It's not much complex. Okay. It may looks like a little bit complex for the new people, but the people who has already completed the course, this we have to do. So like this, we will be taking the different assignments in our trainings. So assignments will make us to think in the different way. Instead of just going for class by class whenever we are doing the practice, Once we do the practice, once we are clear with the subject, then what we have to do is we have to go ahead with the different assignments, take up like this, and then we have to go with the results test, so that we'll get a confidence level. Okay, if the work is assigned like this, then I can go for perform over here. Yes. Okay. Yes. Any doubts here? Please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask for the doubts. Yeah, please.
Yeah, hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good morning. I have a small doubt. In the first, while you are starting, you told right roles in global HR. Like how many roles are there, sir? Can I
There
know?
are six roles in global HR. We have employee role, line manager role, we have the contingent worker, and human resource specialist, human resource manager role. We have six roles. We have for every
Okay,
module 5 to 6 roles we will find.
okay. In Google, how we can find it, sir? Any? Can you give me some suggestions?
Oracle documentation we have to go through, but in Google we don't find module-wise roles. They will give a list of roles, around 100 to 200 roles. We will find in Oracle documentation. In the Oracle documentation, we can find. Whereas OER, Oracle Enterprise Repository for Fusion applications, we have to choose cloud applications here, and then we have to go to human resources, and then we have to choose the books here. After that, there will be a security. Here we can find the security references. Here we have to go to. But module wise, they will not be that much clear. We'll find different roles. This is benefits, cash manager, compensation, employee role, human capital, human resource specialist. Just now we have used this.
Yes, sir.
This is how we can get it.
Okay. Means
At least,
yes, sir. Like
please go
once,
ahead.
yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, go ahead with the doubt.
Yeah, once we are assigning the role to the user, still we have to add any data role for the user
Yes,
or
yes, yes, yes. There are different types of roles we have to discuss, like job role, data role, abstract role, and duty roles. Whenever we are working with the data roles, we are supposed to apply the securities.
no, sir. Just now we have seen right, like application implementation consultant. The role has been assigned to the user and he is able to perform the task. Then why we required the data roles for the
Data
user?
role is related for the transaction. That is a data role when we want to restrict setups we can perform. Anybody can perform the setups who is having the access to the implementation. You can do the setups for any branch. But when you are doing the transactions, you can restrict. When employee says that I'm the manager for New York branch, then he can perform only the operations in that New York branch. He can transfer the employees only in New York branch. He cannot transfer the California branch employee, right? So that
Yes.
time what we have to do, we have to define the securities.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay, sir. And also, last and final doubt, sir. Uh, Once the payroll has been processed for the employee, how that payroll information means the earnings and deductions has to be transferred to the subledger, sir. Can you
We
please
have
tell
the
me?
program. We have the program, right? Once we run the payroll program, generally in payroll module, we'll be checking. After pay slips are generated, there are two programs needs to be submitted. Those programs will go for transfer the information from our payroll to general ledger to maintain the accounting information. Generally, when we are running the payroll, we'll run multiple process. Whenever we do it from here, let's go to payroll. This user does not have the payroll. Okay, let me log in with another user. Users. Okay, for our user itself, we'll add the role payroll. We can verify. Now, once we submit this payroll, last two processes will be used. Transfer your payroll information to subledger accounting and review your accounting entries in GL model. These two tasks needs to be executed.
Yes, sir. What you said is exactly correct, sir. But before this process, like from the managed bank or like element eligibility, there we have to give any thing, sir.
Yes, yes, we can do that also. In the element setups, we'll be discussing in payroll model.
Uh,
But generally, two processes it needs to be done. We can also do it at element eligibility level. We'll discuss that in the payroll module when we are talking about payroll cost.
yes. Actually, I required that costing information.
Yeah, you can join in the course, and when the payroll module is going on, we'll be discussing.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fine, guys. Any other doubts here? So tomorrow we are going to have, but tomorrow we are going to have the session at 6:30 a.m. because of weekends. We
Yes,
have
sir.
taken this at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow our class timing will be 8:30 a.m. IST. Sorry, 6:30 a.m. IST. So that's going to be our demo session, and that will be the class timings. From Tuesday onwards, our regular sessions are going to be conducted. So tomorrow will be our final demo session. We'll be talking about that. Okay. Thank you. Let's see you guys tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. IST, and we'll talk about the third demo. Thank you.